We are good. You're live. We got timing going on. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, how am I on? All right. We're almost ready. Almost ready. Oh no, Mr. Bill. Sorry about that. My schizophrenia is coming into 4 again, or 5. If anybody who knows how to read the announcements would like to read the announcements, now's the time to volunteer to read the announcements. You want to read the announcements?
Since I'm not coming up until 11:30.
You want to? Okay. So give this man a round of applause. He's going to read the announcements, and then I'll be interrupting him severely and like that. So just from there to that, and if you stand behind, like where the microphone is, then you'll be on the flim. Okay. There he goes. Give him another round of applause. That was weak.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Hear ye! Welcome to Sacred Grounds with Mr. Dan Brady as the current host of this, the longest running open mic in the known and unknown universe. Serving up good food and fine poetry since 1972. Please support this reading by enjoying the food and drink served here. Let's have a big hand for Teddy and Fiona, our hosts.
Well, you have to tell us the signals so we know how to do that.
Poetry of all kinds, ladies and gents, is welcome. And we ask you to please respect the mic. Keep conversations to a whisper. Put phones on mute or vibrate. And don't distract the speaker or pass in front of him or her.
Pass gas in front of them.
Playing.
My God.
Where was I? Oh, yes. Also, keep to the time limit, usually 5 minutes, but can change.
I mean, look at the audience. It may change, so try to go short, I'm telling you.
Remember, we have 2 shows.
Cool.
The 7-ish.
Which is now.
And the 7:30-ish.
No, 8:30. It should be 8:30.
8:30-ish.
Thank you. Does it say 7:30?
No, I got
okay.
my issues.
All right. Because if it says that wrong, then I got to fix it.
Having issues.
Hey, they're my issues. For this reason, I ask for generosity. Going short helps with our tradition of getting everyone on the mic. If you want to be in a proverbial loop, we have an open, an opt-in email list and a Facebook group. We stream the video, and this is handy in 5 ways. You can view it from home. Family or friends can see you live or later on. That's ominous.
Yes, it is.
If you want to hear so-and-so's poem again, why you can.
You can.
Want to do a self-critique?
Just ask Svetlana.
If you really want to. And 5. And it is a way to put out the word. Yours, mine, and ours.
Whatever it is.
Remember, the ongoing theme. Never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever happened. Margaret Mead. The evening's theme is...
The evening's theme is couplets or couples or something to do with the root word of couple. Couplet, coupling, couplets, all that.
Also, next week's feature will be...
Next week's feature will be Paul Aponte, leading a group of poets from Sacramento. Pastor Benyez, Zayla Hendrickson, Joanne Anglin, Odia Galvez Rodriguez, and Paul Aponte himself. He's been here before.
Now, as to the first show, the keynote will be...
The keynote is the cursive writer.
Woo-hoo!
No, he's here. I saw him. Never mind.
While our feature is...
Our feature is the Honorable and the Wonderful Stephanie Manning. Where is she? She's around here. I saw her. There she is. Beautiful. Finally.
Who will give the Queen's Wave?
She did. She gave the Queen. Actually, the Queen's Wave is really like this. She just goes like this. Doesn't even, none of that stuff. Anyway.
As to the second show, the last word will be...
Shem will kick it off, and Shem will end the second hour.
The mini feature is...
Tommy Avicola.
I knew that. And we have fabulous door prizes.
I'm going to go over those door prizes so quickly it'll make your head spin. But hold on to that because we're not in that movie called... What was it? The movie with the girl's head goes around?
The Exorcist.
Yeah, it's not The Exorcist. So if you like science
Also my wedding
fiction,
video.
Isaac Asimov, Forward the Foundation. If you like history, Isabel Allende's Daughter of Fortune, if you like that. This is New Poets of England and America, edited in 1493. No, I'm only kidding about that. This was a rare find, The Importance of Living by Lin Yu Tang. It was first published in 1937. If you've seen the movie, Dances with Wolves. These are copies of books that I have, Insight to Riot. If you want to know why people should complain, this will tell you why they're complaining. Not what to do about it, but what we get if we got the changes we like. Runaway with the Wind, it's a great science fiction novel, fantasy by me. This guy, never mind, magical powers, mysticism, and there's a new world at the end. If you like haiku, then this is for you. That's haiku. And these are two books about coming of age, my perspective on that. Sally Love Saunders gave me a book of children's poetry, and this came out of my having read that. I decided to respond to some, do parallels and stuff like that. That's the first book of it. Then, of course, if you like to know what's going on the hate front, this is the intelligence report from the Southern Poverty Law Center. And that's about the size of that.
Be advised, although we record the evening, if an audience member wishes to do so, please ask permissions. We'll assume you've done so should we notice recordings being made.
Should be noticed. I forgot 4 things. The mini feature is also a prize, which we have Tommy today. The last word, which Shem is. The keynote, which the cursive writer will be. And choosing a theme or prompt, or being the co-pilot. So I don't know where that other one is. There should be in there somewhere. Anyway, so that is the size of those things. Is there anything else? Oh yes. Can someone take this chair and put it over there? That's going to be the on-deck chair, because I think we have a crowd of people here, and so when I call your name, probably go to the on-deck chair, so that way it'll facilitate the transference and resistance and the ohms to various sundry methods. So, all that said, is the cursive writer now ready to come forth or fifth? There he is. Device in hand, you'll know. Device in hand.
No device.
No device.
No.
Oh.
Like that, will you? All right, I have 2. One is from Norma Smith, from the Bay Area Generations, number 41. It's called What He Left Me With. On his deathbed, my father heard me say, "I love you." It was pro forma, I thought. He needed comfort, and who was I to withhold anything he'd never offered me? Oh, good, he said, I knew. You either loved me or hated me. Amazing, I thought, the one thing in his life he wasn't sure of. And now I know that was never the question. In an interview with a poet, I heard myself say, all poems are love poems for me, because all I write is an attempt at understanding, and that it must be an act of love. Sounds good. On air, but still, I'm not sure. It's true, I think it is in its own way. I don't need to know. For certain, between us, after all these years of death, you're long scattered to the winds, and I am still trying to figure you out. Frail. The way you were at the end, and I the strong one now, surely not hate, but something much more complicated. This is from the poet Alejandro Murguia, the last poet laureate of the city. From The City is Already Speaking, the sound of Kai 24. Not that it matters. When Mother Nature made the lobster, she was in a mood, you can tell. Like maybe lonely or thinking of someone who was absent. Like I think of you when it rains, when the email drops in the slot, the time at the zoo and the awe of the giraffe, and now nature at her creative best. But I return to the lobster in my hands and the vagaries of life. Syria bleeding in the news, the absence of rain for years. A train wreck somewhere, a firestorm in the North Country. The fading end of the smoky late October afternoon.
Beautifully done. Richard Ryder, I'm handing in the attribution sheet, which is what I give people who read poems by somebody else, so I don't always say Charge of the Light Brigade by James Whitcomb Riley, who did not write Charge of the Light Brigade, which is why I have the sign in. All right, we have a special event kicking off this special evening because it's my birthday is tomorrow, so we're kind of celebrating that. There's a cake back there, so at the break we'll have cake. Cake in the break. Thank you. And then we have, I think it may be true, this is the first time we'll have a triple generation of readers. The granddaughter, the mom, and the granddad are in the audience, and we're going to have them come on, 1, 2, 3, right? Like that, because that's kind of the fellow I am. Now, are you, my dear, ready?
I think so.
You've been here before, correct, haven't you?
Yes.
So we don't have to do the hula, but give her a nice round of applause. This is Molly, ladies and gentlemen. A poet of note. Just before we get really, really close. There you go.
Good evening, Sacred Grounds.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
This is my poem, Silky Threads. My grandfather's poems are masterpieces. They threads between joy and sadness, happiness, yesterday and tomorrow, even life and death. They tread upon the beautiful in-between at the crossing point of art and writing, because my grandfather has that extraordinary gift of placing himself into his poems. The second poem I have was actually written by my 4-year-old little sister, and it is called In Space. Space. If you know space, it's all in your mind. After all this time, we're in space. Everything we see is in our minds. Everything we do is what we do. In space, how many dragonflies are there? 1. Thank you.
And now, the parent of the talented child herself, a talent. And now this is your first time reading, right?
I think it is.
Oh yeah, come on, people! I don't hear the glasses ringing.
I love that. I was even going to preface this by saying I actually have an advanced degree in performing things, but this is my first poetry reading. So
all right.
I'm out of my medium.
You just raised
and
our
excited.
expectations.
I know. Well, and how do I follow that, kid?
I know.
Boy. All right. This is called Native Flavors. Close your eyes, I tell my husband, and wave 3 different deodorants under his nose. He chooses lavender, which is good, because I was going to pick that one anyway. He says I have a super nose, and maybe he's right. Scents matter a lot to me. Flavors, too. They color every vignette, shade and tint my memories. In our quiet East Coast suburb, on a walk through Maple Crest Park, I'm distracted by a familiar aroma from the foliage. I think, eucalyptus? But it couldn't be. We don't have eucalyptus in New Jersey. Like me, it's not from there. Even so, my olfactory memory kaleidoscope launches a reverie of San Francisco scents and flavors. Eucalyptus may not be native to San Francisco, but like other transplants here, it permeates. A choral festival at Stern Grove, the walk from Lowell to Stonestown, the homemade eucalyptus nut flea collar that got our cat so stoned that time. The kaleidoscope turns, a sticky sweet brick of pink popcorn split between little me and the Stowe Lake Coots. Picking between too many flavors at Bud's, at Double Rainbow, at Mitchell's, at Polly Ann's, refried beans at La Rondalla, and the waitress there who didn't give me a menu because she thought I was too young to read. Stopping at Hippo Burgers after booster shots from the pediatrician on Van Ness, or maybe getting a Napoleon instead at the bakery next door.
That's my choice.
Yeah. Sunday morning strawberry waffles with Dad at Herb's on 24th Street, chatting up the waitress even though she was a Steelers fan. Fresh chocolate croissants from Le Petit Boulangerie, chicken burrito and Fanta red cream soda from Simon's, purple gooey tidal wave gum and Garbage Pail Kids from the corner store across from Fairmont Elementary. Warm frosted McDonald's raspberry Danish the morning after a sleepover at Ruby's on Cap Street. In high school, the 99-cent discount clam chowder at Neptune's just for Pier 39 employees. Discovering patchouli off Haight at the hole in the wall that also yielded the naked fairy riding a crystal necklace that I wore for years. The taste of mingled salt and vinegar chips and buttercream lifesavers in that first kiss under the ivy on the J tracks above Dolores Park. The flavors and aromas swirl on my nostalgia palate. Here I am in this city again, visiting with that husband and our 2 daughters. Most of those places are long gone.
Yes, they are.
It's not the city I left, and I'm not the girl who left it. Still, I know this. Eucalyptus may not be a San Francisco native, but I am.
And now, Mr. the grandfather on the question, Mr. Martin Joseph, and then Owen Duncan, you're the next person up. If you can get up to the chair in a moment. There we go. May I make a quick interjection?
Sure.
One time, just apropos of your story, I was hiking in the East Bay Hills, and out in the middle of nowhere, off these tracks, I start smelling spaghetti. Now, I'm talking about, it's on the wind, it must be the largest pot of spaghetti you could ever imagine, because there's no houses around, there's no roads, there's nothing. I'm going, what the heck's up with this? So I just followed the scent. It took me to a bay tree. And my mom always put bay leaves in the spaghetti sauce, and so that was and that's what I was smelling. And I go, a tree? And my sister said, it's a bay tree. And I said, there's no bay around here. She said, you're an idiot. But anyway, so smells bringing back memories. Anyway, so Martin Joseph, give him a nice little chat of applause here so we can get kicked off and going. And then we got Owen, then Sally, Britt, Wendy, Chris, and Morgan Freeman.
Good evening, Sacred Grounds. Theme of the night is couple. We're doing you one better with triple. I don't know, as Vanessa said, how do I follow that? I follow it with hot dog, $1, 2018 version. The rain came pouring down outside the Safeway store. I was paying for my groceries when I caught the scent of cooking meat only a few feet away. I don't know what kind of meat, and I probably never will. All I remember is that as I finished paying, I heard her shout out, "Hot dog! $1!" There she was in all her Safeway uniform splendor, a middle-aged Vietnamese woman in a predominantly Chinese neighborhood hawking the American dream. "Hot dog! $1!" she said again as people dribbled in and out through the store's main entrance, sometimes a question. "Hot dog, $1." Sometimes a statement of fact. "Hot dog, $1." Sometimes a chronicle sign reading itself aloud to the gathering throngs. "Hot dog, $1." Just enough to catch your impulse just before lunchtime. In my mind, this was the beginning of a Broadway song. I tried to imagine what notes would support her clear and honest voice, perhaps in the key of G. I imagined her being joined by a baritone voice and then a bass, all singing in the same refrain, "Hot dog, $1." I started to assign notes to other voices, an F, a D7, and other dominant and subdominant tones. I imagined the grocery checkers chiming in, and then the customers, one by one, and then in groups until everyone in the store was singing it. I imagine someone on the side singing in a complimentary chord scheme, pickle, relish, mustard, onions, ketchup, if that's the way you go. I saw the whole store form a singing group like the cast of Les Miserables. They were facing me as the build-up chords were played. One of them stepped forward and began, "Do you see the people shop, searching for bargains in the corn? Was there a Safeway in your neighborhood the day that you were born? Can you live on beets and beans? How about 20 pounds of rice? Buy by the trainload, but we still will uphold the price. For the shoppers of the world, we have the sales that never end. If you have sufficient income, we will always be your friend. We have what you need and we constantly urge you to spend. Will you join our discount plans? If you join now, we'll waive the fee. Is there a place beyond the checkout stand that you would rather be? What's the country's moving towards, things we can and can't afford, and all of our jobs that won't return from their trips abroad. Hot dog, $1. It's the meal most of the people can afford. Hot dog, $1. At the ballpark you'd be paying 10 times more. "I'll take one," said the man in the golfing cap. "I'll take one too," said the woman with the dog. "We're 300 million strong, though things may suck, we get along. But in a bad economy, there's nowhere else we'd rather be. And though some people at the top would rather all our thinking stop, we'll act as one until we're free, we shall overcome. Hot dog, $1. It's something all the folks can share. We don't know just what it is, and the truth really is that we don't care. All we know is that it's ours, something that's tangible and brown. Pour on the mustard, raise it up, and gobble it down. You'll never frown. I realized that I'd been standing there in the middle of Safeway a little longer than I had intended. I looked around quickly to see if anyone had noticed me, but everyone seemed to be involved in their own business. I bought a hot dog from her and walked out into the rain. Thank you.
Are you ready to do that? All right, next is Owen Dunkel and Sally. Why don't you move up? And then after Sally, we have Britt, then Wendy, then Christopher Robin. That's a nice and interesting name. Brett. We have Britt and we have Brett. So we have the Britt and the Brett. We have both of them. All right. Mr. Greg Pond, I'm writing you on this list here, just so you know you were aware. And we're doing the on-chair thing because time is tight, as you might guess. So, little round of applause for him, get him started, and then we'll go on to other things.
First of all, I'll start with a quotation from W.E. Yeats. Think where man's glory most begins and ends, and say my glory was, I had such friends. Lines written upon seeing a tattooed stripper perform. Nighttime at the Trieste, paradise saws at the bones of necessity. The moon waxes and wanes like the color of green cheese, puzzlings at the paradise of virginity. Yeah, I'll read an old poem here. Mars and Scorpio. Dark shades, dark gray clouds, fair Paris dragged to the streets of Troy, the head of Agamemnon impaled on a pole, brave Achilles sulks in his tent, sword and buckler hanging from the rafters of a shadow of a dark sun, as a beautiful Jewish woman soars into the library as a death-like old crone. The proud give their prosthetic apparati like a Trojan horse, but succeed in getting shafted like a nude flagpole sitter. Radical politics are cut from the same cape and are making the same scene. Oh, death and mass confusion follow fair Prometheus to his island of aloneness and aloofness, talking like Auden in his cell of himself. To a wooden diadem. A box within a box, a play within a play, your mind a set of wooden sticks that go by 2 by 2. Hip hop, I think, I thought, it was munching, lunching, and crunching. It was bad form to commit a solecism. This poem a mad solecism hiding in the dark mummy wheat that cannot say it was bad form. Bad form searching for its karma. Sonnet, Sunday 7. It was in out of our time I jumped from the train. Another Sunday, rain made my eyes blur. Speak of mine to the sun-filled chimes, an hour so to gain of drinking again in Spain. Climbing up gargoyles to sublime excesses of the clapping bells. Gaudiamus igitur, all sing to the sea. Here and there, leaves of green pea stare upward with eyes at stars as half-mad tenants pour from bars. Sonnet, Sunday setting. I begin paying a vague promise to the park of trays and paths, out of the reach of the wrath of Muse Calliope's sharper demises, to dog-eared flowers and surmises of her happy vanity than hath more thorns and thistles than math, than love I love more, that has more surprises than a beautiful girl who has written to her love-proud verses charging across the page. She is smitten with rage and grief, Kirches trying to please God's crumpet. Fair princess, fair maiden, thou strumpet.
Thank you, Mr. Owen.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right. Sally is next to the mic, and then Britt Peter could be in the chair position. Oh, you're already close, so but yeah, maybe that'd be good anyway.
Greg's gonna read mine.
Okay. All right. So, Greg, are you going to read your own stuff later on?
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Maybe.
Oh, wait a minute. Then I wanted to. So Sally was going to be up here, but I wanted to pass these around. This stack this way. This stack that. She does poetry events, and some of them where it's like a workshop thing. Others it's more special, but. These are her upcoming activities, and when she does a workshop, every time I've done it, oh sorry, my time's up. Every time I've gone to one, I've come away with poems of value, and I've liked that. Other times, it's like you hear lots of good poetry, like I met him at one of hers, and that's how I got to know him. So there's like a lot of things there. So I'm gonna go like this, and just take one if you want. Bring the rest back to me if you so desire, and in due time and just cause. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Give this man a round of applause. This is a great poem.
This evening I'm reading for Sally Love Saunders. I'm reading a collection of her poems. This is Dan, Our Man.
Dan, our man.
Wonder who this is for. Dan, our man, so glad you were born into a family that honored creativity, so you can make a family out of us poets at Sacred Grounds. Dan, Mr. Poetry San Francisco, plus a friend to us all, married to Queen Wendy, whose graciousness we all love. Happy birthday, dear Dan, and many more.
Thank you so much.
Queen Wendy.
San Francisco is dying right in front of my eyes. Streets torn up like a hospital operating table. Construction workers look like surgeons. We stand around the bed of this old-timers, old friend San Francisco. The heart is beating slowly. The pulse of the true San Francisco fading. A cancer like plight is taking over. High rises, Uber, Lyft, and bikes. Eating at the calm once was here. Am in a meadow of time and quiet. Am in a meadow of time and quiet. Here, poem idea can be planted and grow. Ideas do not get snuffed out by scurry of speed or activity. In this meadow, they can stretch and walk, maybe wobbly at first. I'm floating on the lake of solitude, cool, smooth waters. The water mattresses me, ripples coming toward me. Time doesn't tick here. The air hums. Non-involvement. She goes to the zoo, looks at the animals, but does not feed them. She goes to the art museum, sees the statues, but does not feel them. She went to the beach, but never allowed the salt to sting her. She shook his hand, but never held it. A poem is kicking at the door of my mind. Not now, I lazily replied. I'm half asleep. Later. There is no later. I want to come in now and be seen. Later, I will have vanished. Poetic electricity. Beauty generates poetic electricity, which has run through the air even before life began. Poets have tried to harness it and have gotten a little into poems to suit their souls, to suit the times, yet always leaving this poetic electricity uncaptured. Dancers in the park. Trim-pointed pointer dog studies moves so carefully, no extra skin. Pointer dog pointing at a Tai Chi artist who also measures movements. They seem to be so aware of each other as though partners dancing in space. And this is the last one. Medical to-dos. My life so full of medical to-dos. Floss teeth, clean eyeglasses, do physical therapy exercises, take meds and vitamins. Medical to-dos, termites eating at the fabric of my time. When is there time to have plenty of time to do as choose? When is there plenty of time to just do nothing, to splash shining silver minutes around me in a refreshing way?
Thank you, Mr. Pond. He said he might be back for doing his own stuff in due course. All right, so that brings us to Mr. Britt Peter, and then Wendy, you're on the chair anyway, so you're okay. And then Christopher, Brett, Bill, DeBeeps, Beppo,
Okay.
De Montfort.
Yet again, the man in the long red ties should take more care in his pronouncements. Calling someone else a dog, lashing out at a spook. Talks like a man who never got bit back or had to suffer through a tetanus shot. Donnie, listen to the mailman. Don't go there.
That part of me, the old man hated the constant summing up, the dwindling audience. He cried, "Where's the now groove?" The black platter falling on the turntable, the cactus needle catching hold, his impatience, the turning hunger. And two short poems from the Richmond Annex. Foggy morning in the annex, the poem stuck, crows distract, start the dreidel, flying letters, spinning world, contain message. The high moon fights through our fog, a silver crease in the late night. The bowed song finishes a line.
Thank you. Well, Peter and the Queen of Time and Space, Wendy Walters, is now coming up. Give her a nice round. And Bill, Brett Benson, you're next. Oh, Christopher is next. Christopher Robin. So she'll probably get to the on-deck chair if you can, please. That would help. And if you can go short, please do so, because we have almost 30 people here on the reading things. Just let you know.
Okay, I am going to see if I can do this poem mostly memorized. Let's see what happens. I don't know if I have stage fright. It'll all go out of my head. But. So, it's called Dancing Free. I can't wait. I can't wait one more moment to slip into some comfy dancing clothes and ride out of precedent, out of my head, out of the beaten track of its notions, slide into some smooth grooves with my favorite dancing shoes. With my favorite dancing music. Oh yeah, I can't wait one more second to drop this narrow confine of my thinking about, what did I say? What was that? Oh yeah, feeling my body flow with the waves of this melody and rhythm. Got the rhythm. I'm under the spell now and there's no going back. Caught in this shimmering world fusion sound. Makes me break free, stepping out just to be. Can't wait one more moment. I'm in my comfy dancing shoes, slipping out of precedent, out of my head, out of the beaten track, dancing with these smooth grooves. Had enough thinking about that narrow confine. Dancing up and way on down. Tired, taut muscles are warm and loose. Dancing away the frights and the blues, dancing free till everything's new. No more tripping, no more loss. My heart's on fire and going higher. Oh, so good this world I know. I'm in love, bedazzled by love, wrapped in the warm joy of these sounds, making me move, dancing free. I think I should, if I'm going to do this poem memorized, I should just do it without the mic. And I think I can project, because it's kind of hard. You know, my voice going out. And then the other thing is I just hurt my toe, so I was feeling a little bit like I couldn't really slide around much. But anyway, that was fun. Thank you for being my audience practicing that. Eventually I will know. That music really did make me feel absolute bliss. It was music by Gobi, a composer who just does this beautiful South American Latin sound. It's jazzy and classical and Latin and just beautiful rhythms. Kind of very moving. It took me into another space. And now I'd like to go to Rumi, just one poem. One of my favorites by Rumi. I love mystical poetry. I'm just going to read most of it, not all of it. You are not a single you. You're a common rhyme word now. dependent on some other for your emotional force, but real life will come. As when a baby stops nursing and grows interested in solid food. As when seeds break open in the ground and act differently. There is a hidden love center in human beings that you will discover and savor and nourish yourself with. That will be your food. There's a way of going that's like the stars. No, even freer than they are, completely unconditioned, unlocated, unpathed, a journey without a sky. You came from non-existence into being. How did that happen? Tell me about it. You were a little drunk when you arrived, so you can't remember exactly? I'll give you some hints. Let your mind go and be mindful. Close your ears and listen. But maybe I shouldn't tell if you're not ripe. You're still in early spring. July hasn't happened to you yet in you. The world is a tree, and we are green, half-ripe fruit on it. We hold tight to the limbs because we know we're not ready to be taken into the palace. When we mature and sweeten, we'll feel ashamed of having cloned so cleanly. To hold fast is a sure sign of unripeness. To drink and enjoy blood is fine for an embryo. More needs to be said on this, but the Spirit will tell you when I'm not here. You'll tell it to yourself, not I or some other I, you who are me. As when you fall asleep and go from the presence of yourself, little self, to the presence of yourself, big self. You hear that one and you think, someone must have communicated telepathically in my sleep. You are not a single you. Good friend, you are a sky and an ocean, a tremendous you. A 900 times huge drowning place for all your hundreds of yous. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Wendy, Christopher Robin. I thought you were going to be up here, so give him a round. Get onto the mic, get close, because that way it'll carry there.
All right.
There you go.
So I guarantee this is going
Oh, wait a minute. This is your first time here, right?
No, I've been here before.
Okay, fine.
I've been coming here for years.
Oh, all right.
I guarantee this will offend most of you. I do guarantee on that. And the context of this piece is the idea of how hundreds of years white people have gotten away with saying, or not necessarily just gotten away, but there's a lot of times that they got away with saying some of the most horrendous combinations of any alphabet about especially black people, but other ethnicities. So that's what inspired this in the beginning, and then it kind of trickles into this philosophical death thing. So, yeah. Death to all crackers. From saltines to Triscuits, wheat thins to soda, gulping down their gravy and biscuits. Death to all crackers. May they be curdled like the cheese that they are covered in. May their minds be treated like the slaves that gave birth to lighter skinned. And by the way, the only relief that will be offered in this poem is the fact that all who are born live to see the grave as their new home. So death to the firemen rescuing babies from the inferno, death to your true love, who caused your fragile heart to grow. Death to your mother and the one who planted the seed. Death to all poets and artists with their egotistical greed. Death to the Hebrews and the ones who believe in Palestine. Death to the death to the communists and to the ones who serve democracy. Death to everyone you will ever know, including yourself and me. Death to the stars and the music of the spheres. Death to Mother Nature, she won't be saved by her tears. Death to the atheists and the scientists as well. Death to those who believe in heaven, and death to those who believe in hell. Death will find us all. There's no way to stall. Spoiler alert, death is our final curtain call. Thank you.
All right, Christopher Robin. I thought he was new, he's not new. And now Brett Benson, and then Bill Mercer is after him, it looks like. So Bill, if you're wherever you are, if you can, are you on this? You should come up to the chair there, dear. No. It's much faster. It says it's reconnecting here. I'm hoping it's going. All right. Grumble. Okay, let me get this. Give him a round, please. We haven't seen him in a minute.
We were having a conversation, and she said, "What is something beautiful?" And I said, "Try this. Wake up at 5 a.m., go to bed at 9. Try and go see the sunrise, because you'll see hundreds of people overlooking a sunset, but only a few know the wisdom in that to end a day well, you have to start it off too." There was a challenge in front, and many would just say, "No way. I can't do that. I am not capable." A long time ago, I would have agreed with them. I wanted to just go hide. Anytime you had something that came forth and tested me to the very depths of every fiber of my being, I wanted to say no. I don't have any answers, and therefore I am lacking in something. But when I go into the classroom and talk to students now, I realize that even if I trip up on a word, or even if my board doesn't say the correct date, or if anything else is wrong inside, I realized failure is often where you learn the most. This one actually has a title. It's called The Way Out. I see you suffering there. I see you on the verge of tears. I see you not able to get out of bed today. I see you scared at the world because regularly it tells you you are not enough. It tells you you're too skinny, too fat, too tall, too short, not cool enough, not driving the right car, not wearing the right clothes. My friend, that is all a facade. You are enough, and the way out is believing that you are. Thank you.
Brett Benson. I'd like to thank all the people who are really being generous with their time. It just makes everything magically wonderful here. This is Bill Mercer, however, so give him a nice round as he comes up. I am following him, and the Cursed Rider follows that. And then, of course, we have Stephanie Manning, our multitudinously wonderful feature.
Well, you need to sit over there.
I have to watch this because it's reconnecting. Right.
Well, with the election season careening down on us like an out-of-control beer truck, I figured this is my last chance to go a little bit light. So to do a couple of one everybody's already heard. You can join in if you wish. 'Twas brilling and the slithy toes did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the bordeaux, and no wrath outgave. Beware the jabberwock, my son, the claws that catch, the jaws that bite. Beware the judge bird, and shun the fumarious bandersnatch. So took he his vorpal sword in hand. Long time the maxim foe he sought. Then rested he by the tum-tum tree, and stood a while in thought. And As in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes of flame came whipping through the tall wood, and burbled as it came. And one, two, and through the vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with the head he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy, O frabjous day. Callooh, Calais, he chortled in his joy. 'Twas brilling, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the border goes, and gnome wraths outgabe. Some of you have heard that before. Followed by another kind of silly one. Let the creep by there.
It wasn't my fault I didn't do it. It's not mine. My name is not who you think I am.
I should get out of town before the moon comes round. She slips into town with her golden crown, magical liquid light. She sings a song so sweet and long. We dance away the night. Then when we trance from song and dance, she robs us in the night. Now we face the day without our pay, and the moon is gone from sight. The moon is rolling around. I had better get out of town. I should get out of town before the sun comes round. He stomps into town with his fiery crown, howling hellhound by his side. He kicks in our door, dumps us on the floor. There is no place that we can hide. Then into the street with nothing to eat. It's off to work that we must ride. When we are sore, tired to the core, he pops his whip and we work some more. The sun is rolling around. I had better get out of town. I should get out of town before the sun and moon come round. They team up to control us and rob us of our pay. By night the moon bewitches us. The sun kicks our butt by day. The sun and moon are rolling around. I had better get out of town and be upon my way.
Yeah. Huh? What? No, it's not. No, those are his. Yes. Those are his? The ones you read. All right, now it's now we come to me, unfortunately. Just as long as I'm framed. Wait a minute, my good self. So the theme is couples, couplets, and things like that. So these are not couples or couplets, but there are two of them. So, and one is short and one is not. So, time comes and goes, almost unnoticed, unremarkable, except for the changes we seem to think come and go with it. What a strange concept, which is to say, untrue. So much so that we'd have to invent the concurrence for our own sakes, not to mention those of others. Magicians use this feat all the time, and we, the duped, ever and always find no end of fascination with what they have us see. Truth be damned.
All right, on this I'm going to do, here we go. When dreams go, where do they go? After falling into something you might call time, so that much later, when that worthy time comes a-calling, as he always does, no matter his appearance or how you elect to take it, leave it, whatever, he will sit you down comfortably and begin recounting those once-upon dreams you had when fantastic creatures had crazy places to go and wondrous things to do. As a teen, dismissing the dusty passages of so-called wisdom, pondering the nature of the universe, visualizing a remake of the world in happiness, and then all those shape-shifting dreams, top secret make-a-wish list, the desire to become a somebody, a contender. By the time you're all grown up and so certain you'll never suffer from the illusion of temporality or get caught up in the flow that ever goes on and on and on and on until, well, like I said, there comes that point when time comes a-calling, and then sitting there with time during that very long seeming instant, the misty hopes of sailing the Atlantic, visiting other worlds, finding a cure for this, an invention for that, finding the answers to life's persistent questions are as real as the joyful lift such considerations still give your soul, and as the song in your heart is. Yes, when time comes, it's time for letting go, moving on, although both of you just sit there as time drums his fingers and you take it all in. You'll never glimpse Xanadu, dance a jig on ancestral stone, stand atop the peak you saw on your way to school, travel October country, walk Grover's Corner, Flanders Fields, or fly over the white cliffs of Dover, stroll the marketplace of old Algiers, see the pyramids along the Nile, you remember that, or get what Murray and 1,000 clowns insisted upon. So there you are, sitting with time, feeling just as you did way back when, as your dreams come and go lightly, passing by as bubbles which pop, becoming less than a breath of mist that vanishes as time takes you for a ride, as they used to say. At some point, you usually come to the conclusion that this tete-a-tete has nothing to do with regret. Nothing to do with anything at all like that. In fact, it's just a show for a very exclusive audience of one. And then time nods exactly as you do. Regret has nothing on this sort of loss. But as you look up, one last bubble approaches, wobbly. You are uncertain it will make it. Oh, how you wish that it was a book you could reread at your leisure, but it isn't, and wasn't made for that, certainly. Nope, not made for that at all.
Thank you. And now we have a return of the cursive writer, because he was the keynote. The keynote always comes back to do their own thing in due course, or cursive, kaisive. Never mind. I'll get back to me on that. And so where is he?
Jabberwocky Lewis Carroll.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Oh, there he is, coming with device in hand.
Oh my God! You have to say that in the punitive chair.
Yes.
Yeah, I never got told. I was supposed to be in my chair.
Well, you know how it is. We do our best, and we do our best, and then we do more. I'm going to see if this makes a difference. But this
All right, everybody give it up for Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what one says, writes. Anyone listening? Apathy is the word of the day, throughout the days. There are things done in our names but does not seem or to matter in our lives. For those of us who aren't working 2 or 3 jobs to support family, oneself, there's time in our daily routines while we leave no room for struggle. Like learning to play a guitar, it takes effort to attain peace, love, understanding. Doesn't just happen. We'll deserve everything we get. We've had a long time to correct our bullshit, but we haven't, not that there aren't humans trying. We tried to bend the mother to our will, but with no reciprocity, now she will bend us. Bills are coming due, what will we do? Does it? Will it matter? New step and fetching. Everyone seems to be dancing, all smiles, happiness. In the streets, murder, black, red, brown people die with little or no fuss. USA claims to be a moral country. Justin, Beyonce dance, sweat, smile, saying nothing as fistful of dollars are shoved up their bottom way. Like the 60s Motown, we're happy as genocide is the background noise, heard, not heard. Pay no attention to the curtain, it hides the carnage. Live beauty line taking request, it's only that way we stay in a beautiful world. Keep smiling, keep dancing, step and fetch, 1, 2, 3, 4. Step and fetch, 1, 2, 3, step and fetch, smile, fetch, 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 fetch! Oh. Divide and conquer. Your old tricks still work, some so ready for the fight. You live in a terror state. Your Christian behavior says you have to defend the faith, which USA uses for its own purposes while it uses you. Name a country where USA hasn't involved itself in their politics, elections. That country will be the exception. USA even screws with its own elections, tearing asunder its own empire for profit power. USA, you're a little weasel terrorist to the rest of the world. Slayer of humanity, you sell your weapons of mass destruction, then destroy countries you sold them because you're right and a democracy, so the body count gets higher, higher, higher. USA wants to take you to democracy. USA wants to take you higher. And final piece is the man who has some guns. He has some guns. Guns for all needs at all times. He has some guns. Guns for hunting, protecting. Yes, he has some guns. May have to hunt varmints, protect against renegade Indians. He keeps his guns. Never without a gun, guns nearby. May need to assert authority, who's in charge. He shows his guns. Case those crazy leftists take over or the UN with all those black helicopters, ops appear. He maintains his guns. He has some guns. Going big game hunting where there is little left, while all is staged for the great white hunter. All he has to do is point his gun. He loves his guns. He possesses his guns. He'll be glad, you'll be glad that he has his guns when those nasty natural disasters roll by or some home invasion. Possessions of guns buy you a certain amount of security as he runs from disasters with his loaded guns. He falls. One discharges, killing him. He had some guns.
The musical is yet to come. I'm ready for that. Thank you, Richard, and thank you to everybody in the first half of this wonderful first show. We're going to go into the feature mode. Feature. I always take a moment when I do this because this is the moment I like best, when in the evening where I get to praise someone and heap it upon them to the point where they get semi-embarrassed, and then but it's all true stuff. So she has to sit there and go, Okay, that's true. I remember that. I did that. I did this. That's true. I remember that. There was a time when I had to have surgery done, and Stephanie Manning and Greg Pond. Where is Greg Pond? He's around. He's around here something. Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay. So they took over and they kept this thing going while I was in the hospital. And long story short, I was there for a long time, not a short time. And actually, it wasn't like a serious thing, but it was really annoying because, anyway, that's not Stephanie. That's just what she did. She helped this place keep going. When in times past, when I said, I need to have someone help me out, Stephanie was one of the go-to persons for that. Her poetry is really good. It's very varied. Sometimes she takes us on a train ride. Sometimes she takes us to the school cafeteria, school district. Sometimes she takes us to Native people's special places, ceremonial grounds, shell mounds, and she participates in protests and activities which engender an understanding of the peoples who were here before the United States was. And they were there for maybe a couple 10,000, maybe 30,000, and I think 40 to 50,000 years, some people say. So that's an awful long time. And so she is a person of honesty, passion, compassion, understanding, and you're going to see a lot of that on display in just a moment. Stephanie Manning is a wonderful person and a good poet, or a good poet and a wonderful person. Did I say that wrong? No. A great poet and a good person, solid heart, caring, concerned, and wealthy beyond her wildest imagination. She has the heart that bears everything. Stephanie Manning, would you kindly come forward?
Let's set this mic up. I gotta make sure it's perfect for you. Make sure this is good. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll give you a little hand signal so you know when you got like 3 minutes or something. Okay. All right.
Thanks, Dan. That was a very nice introduction.
It was all true.
Yeah. And if anybody cares about Leonard Peltier and the Free Leonard movement, there's a little, I made little papers here.
I'll have these here for distribution at the break.
Free Leonard, the Leonard Peltier Freedom Ride 2018, which is, you can friend them on Facebook. It's a horseback ride with bareback, traditional type horseback riding, and they send beautiful pictures of the countryside that they're in. Wait a minute. Did I just drop something? Wait a minute. There's 1 minute. You said so 1 minute. Sorry. One more. Oh, I'll just make it up. Only haiku again. But important. Oh, well, that's okay. Here we go. So you didn't mention that I'm scatterbrained and focused and scatterbrained and focused and scatterbrained and focused.
No, that was not relevant. You share that
You'll
trait.
see that in my poetry. So
You meant to, but you forgot.
Oh, okay. All right. And let's just have a kind thought for Richard Steger, Ed, my Q's partner, who's sick right now, and keep him in your thoughts, please.
Stephanie brought the card, if you haven't had a chance to sign it, see her at the break.
Okay, so the first one is a tribute to Dan, Dan's birthday. It's called Dan Brady Promotes Each and Every One of Us. We owe him so much. That's the title. It doesn't matter if you've got no talent, if you never actually wrote a poem. If you're great, or if you're wimpy, if you're dressed in something skimpy, if you read Schlock with verve and vigor, or great stuff with timid rigor. If you got drama and you're bold, if you're young or if you're old, but if you're new, be warned, beware. He will cheer with decibels rare, hoot and holler till you're convinced that it's okay to read your thoughts, that nothing's so bad, so odd, so off, that we won't welcome even you, that you're not so odd, that others won't give you your chance. That's the great thing about poets, accepting, listening, learning. Dan the man gives us a forum. He maintains discreet decorum. What will all of us do without him? Is there anyone else to succeed him? No, and I say no, for this very reason. He has more talent in his pinky than all the rest of us combined.
And so just be glad we got him now. And those pretenders present, take a lesson from our boss, the guy, the poet's poet, and wish him well on his birthday now, so he may stay with us a bit longer, making every poet stronger. Hail poetry!
Hail poetry! Just be advised, I have no control.
When he leaves, can we get his pinky?
No, it's up to
Cloning
Dan.
that thing.
Anyway, the next one is a series of 5 haikus. I thought I'd do haikus after that because I know Dan likes to write haikus, so I thought, well, I like to write haikus sometimes. 1. Waves crash on the rocks, lava spews and fires burn. It's so hard to breathe. 2. We stand at the grave. Truth lies in its bleak coffin, awaiting burial. 3. Alive, comatose, who will liberate the facts? Who will believe them? 4. We few wring our hands, epistemology death. Tell them what they want. 5. It's just all showbiz, science flailing in the wind, sending thoughts and prayers. Oh, Berkeley, if the Russians were controlling what you think, would you even recognize it? Trump opposition unite. You have nothing to lose but your tweets. And this one, let me see here. This one is dedicated, this is a serious one, dedicated to Nia Wilson, who was murdered horribly on the MacArthur Bart platform. And it goes like this. When least I see the amber morning pass, thoughts of blood, girls monthly bleed, disdained by men, or blood from murderous, paranoid, schizo schemes. Poor girls, their blood so precious every drop they bleed. Girls' blood, their fertile blood from which creation flows, never spilt by men whose hands so filled with weapons clad. Poor child of Mother Nature, the girls' unwearing joy to play, to pose, to live and think, laugh and do their hair and makeup, embrace their lives. Girls filled with the blood of youth, blood of their ancestors, playing no more when monsters in men's minds come, close in on youth, on freedom, and on life. And this is, so I have a maximum poem length of 3 minutes or so. So this is one of my 2, I have 2 in this feature, and this is one of them. This is a 3-minute poem. The state is burning, California aflame, but fire, innocent, fire elemental, earth, air, fire, water, a spark to the dried out combustibles, not evil, but predictable, like weather. Why do we say the fire is raging? Fire doesn't rage, it burns. Who are we to expect earth, air, fire, water to accommodate us humans? It burns due to our negligence. Ice caps melt because we drive cars, and so the oceans rise. Air fills with carbon dioxide, poison to breathing. Ground shakes because we frack the natural gas below and move subterranean water for money-making schemes, sugar-coated for the greater good. But the earth rebels. Time to stop win-winning and devote ourselves to giving with no reward in mind. Help each other, but most of all, rescue Mother Planet. Above all, rescue our Mother Planet. Instead of above all, make a profit, jobs and housing. All a ruse for money making and leads to species extinction, the end of life on Earth, the poisoning of the planet. We way past the need to tame nature on a suicide mission, advertising to ensure that each and every person on Mother Earth buys a car. 7 million cars rolling slowly behind each other in the great 12-lane jam coming as the ocean rolls on up over the edges of the land, closing in on each of us, breathing carbon dioxide in this great win-win situation where profits, even based on solutions to suffering, accelerates beyond our win-win ability to control it. And we choke on the air and drown as great storms seek to purge the beloved earth as tectonic plates shake and volcanoes spew, and Mother Nature assumes titanic proportions to win back the land so rudely stolen from it by people. Will we solve our problems, make lots of Elon Musk money on our way to Mars in a win-win proposition? Or will we give way to Earth's primal demands and stand down from capitalism, stand down from combustion engines, stand down from pumping oil and gas, stand down from killing things with guns, rifles, bombs, poison, stand down and build a wall to greed. No more win-winning, only give-giving.
I told you. I tried it.
All right. This is called Woke, Not Woke. Rise up, rise up. Sometimes we are woke, and sometimes we are asleep. Asleep, sleeping, sometimes mesmerized by our iPhone screens, comatose. That's just how it is. Just don't be surprised when Trump and his lackeys hang back and wait for the chanting hordes to go home and sleep. Rest and sleep. They hold off their attack until we, no longer woke but asleep or distracted, can't see destruction, evil, lies, garbage-headed speeches, lack of compassion, all getting codified and judges appointed and constitution overturned and taxes on the rich eliminated and children separated and Russian hackers embraced till finally we wake up and cry foul and they lie in wait again or engage in trivial media pursuits such as debate over Melania's jacket, Melania's IQ, Melania's ability to speak 5 languages, or Trump's hairdo, pictures. This is evil lying in wait while we, not woke, sit by as they steal from Medicare to finance tax reform for the wealthy. Because after all, the presidential term is merely the time between elections. And strongman, Trump talks big, but the incarceration of Mayan families grabs headlines. Only the coward's way out, if you think about it, if you are conscious, and if you are not asleep, but woke. Here's my other 3-minute poem, my other long one. This land is whose land? You know, American Indians really hate that song, Woody Guthrie's song, This Land Is Your Land, This Land Is My Land. I heard them talking about it, one of my beloved songs, and when I started thinking about it from their point of view, it's a different situation. We are Spain, Catholics. Our man Cortez conquered the Aztecs on August 13th, 1521. Making Mexico ours, California ours. That's it. No Indians, no landscape, no nature could beat us. Day came, 300 years later, we gave away California countryside to our retiring officers and commenced in 1833 secularization of the missions. 1848, we lost California to the U.S. Here's the U.S. We are Americans, gold diggers, dry goods merchants, bartenders, industrialists, capitalists. We squat on the countryside. We own. We are California, which we made a state in 1850, and we outlaw Indians. We are the Indians. All of this countryside, as far as the eye can see, was ours for thousands of years, since time immemorial. But in the 1500s, explorers came and spread diseases we never had before. We began to die by the thousands. Catholics came, insisted us into missions, slavery, raped our girls, spread disease, held our land from us, gave it to retiring Mexican officers in the king's service. Then gold diggers arrived, squatters, claimed our land. But now it is 2018. Indians have become smarter, woke, learned how to avoid the bounty on their heads, to avoid the cops and death, Indian people realized that they were ripped off royally by royalty, by Catholics, by squatters, by bounty hunters, by gentrification, by government, by development. How do you think Native people feel? Multiply that times 100 and tell me, do you think they won't mind if you trample their rights? Think again. If you pull them over while driving brown, think again. If you call 911 and if they walk down the street, think again. If you threaten to build on their ancient sacred burial sites like the show mounds, think again. If you suddenly run out of food when Native people walk into your restaurant, think again. If you hunt them down and kill them, think again. If you steal their culture and name your sports teams and schools after them, think again. No more pretend Indians. The Red Road is broad and long and goes from Alaska to Argentina, the oldest road on the planet. And the land, tell me, who really owns the land? And here's 4 more haikus. Butterfly garden, someone is missing today. No monarchs in sight. Bay bottom murky, visibility 0, nowhere clean water. From where I sit here, all I see ahead is grief, no easy way out. Thick air pollution, it is getting hard to breathe, in search of clean air. This one's called Tin Buckets. Not all poor people live outside on concrete. Some live in tin buckets on wheels called used RVs. In there is a foam mattress, bed, and a thin roof overhead. The cops keep sweeping you along on those wheels. One night here, one night there, better than a tent or a homeless shelter, cheaper than renting a room in the Cockroach Hotel. But the old RVs guzzle gas and tend to break down. When I was a kid in the 1950s, Pop used to tell us how poor people would take over abandoned buildings in Manhattan, no plumbing or electricity, how their conditions would deteriorate as people relieved themselves in the hallway. These they called slums, he said. No glass in the windows and the building not in good repair. Why don't slumlords maintain their buildings? I learned they do it to devalue the building. So the city will see the logic in knocking it down and building new and twice as high and wide, no setback. They might even like that squatters are in there. It is as much a part of urban America as crows lined up along the dumpster. We vie for morsels, the crumbs that happen to fall off the table of the rich. Today I am thinking about the poor babies in the tin buckets in immigration detention centers, living on the streets in cars, and single-room occupancy rooms overcrowded. The end is coming. The end is in sight. A bulldozer is heading for America, driven by workers with the courage to say, it's over. Okay, and this, I guess this will be my last one because I'm missing my haiku. Anyway, it goes, each day begins with bad news. Today's bad news, the Supreme Court demonstrates its political nature. Partisans appoint them and the justices vote. Presently, a Republican president, a Republican Congress, a Republican Supreme Court, all with zero tolerance for liberals, progressives, and people of color, conservationists, preservationists, nature lovers, musicians, artists, and poets, scientists, and especially climate change science in general. But the water is rising higher and faster. The glaciers are melting as oligarchs pump oil and natural gas, deeper and faster. They scramble, glancing back at the seashores and bay shores and marshes. They feel Mother Earth, the great Warap, as Ohlone say, rebelling as Pele cracks open the land, and out comes long bands of fire and lava, and the people's day of bad news ignites on its way into incendiary fury to remind the oppressors of true power, truth, and the origins of life. Thanks. And birthday, Dan.
Happy
Time for us to celebrate. Long live Dan Brady. Oh, long live and prosper. Dan
Long live and
Brady.
prosper. Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. And yeah. Speaking of that, there's a new Spock coming out, the third iteration of the Spock I was reading about. So there's going to be cake at the break, and this is the break. I'm going to take this camera and face it towards the wall. So if you come over here and start talking, it might pick you up, but it shouldn't. And just stay away from that. So I'm going to face it towards the wall. Stephanie, you don't have books, do you?
No, I got no books.
We'll have to work on that. So I'm going to turn this. We're going to take a break for about 5 minutes. We have a big second show. So I usually read those up, but I got to find out what I'm doing there. Thank you, Stephanie. Give her another round. Another round for Stephanie. All right.
I'm just curious, how far in the list did you get?
Huh? Oh, we got to. I'll show you. Oh, Stephanie, these are your glasses. Okay, yeah, that's only working. So we're
So you're at 13.
yeah, we're right here.
So basically, is that average for?
What do you mean?
As far as most nights, the first part of it gets to usually.
Yeah, like usually the feature goes on about 8:15. It's anywhere between 8:05 and 8:15. They go for 20 minutes, so we can have about 8:30. Second show usually starts. Well, it's going to start like 8:35, something like that. That's average.
And then each person gets what, 5 minutes?
Well, we try to tell people 5 minutes, but look at this. I'm telling them like they're short. Most of these people, only one person almost got to a beat, so everybody's been going short. So that's what we're doing.
Happy birthday.
All right.
So my neck, no, I just wanted to be able to prepare to know when I have to be back.
Oh,
I'm going number down here.
You're Audrey?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 24.
Okay, so that means where are we now?
We're here. So
Oh, lovely.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I can practice that.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'd like to meet an older person. Yeah, right, yeah. I really appreciate it. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Baby.
Happy birthday, Dan.
Happy birthday.
Oh,
Oh, you're seeing like you're weird.
way down here.
Yeah.
Oh, so.
But as soon as you came in, I saw you.
All right, thanks. Wow.
I don't know how we're gonna.
Well, this is all due to you. This is.
I know. It's like I said to myself, what the hell's going on here? People coming out like woodwork. Did you get cake?
No, I can't eat cake right now. Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dan. Happy birthday to you. He's a jolly good fellow, which nobody can deny, which nobody can deny, which nobody can deny. For he's a jolly good fellow, which nobody can deny. So say we are. I wanted your voice because you have
Eat the clown's head first.
We're going to check the streaming facility in just a moment, so we're going to have a little extended break here, and then we'll get back on. I appreciate the people who went short. Almost everybody, in fact, I think everybody did, really. So if you can do that in the second half, we'll get everybody on. That'll be fun. And then we'll take care of these door prizes. And if you want to know more about the Leonard Peltier Freedom Ride, these little slips are right here. There's several of them, and then Stephanie can get you in touch further if you need to.
Happy birthday, damn it.
Thank you, damn it.
How old? 60.
Wait a minute.
66.
66.
Kids are going tomorrow. They'll be back Monday night. So anytime between now and then, or a week after that, they'll be gone for good.
I'm thinking weekends for this.
Yeah. So
because tomorrow and Friday I'm at school, and I have things after school.
That's right.
I'm starting Monday.
You're teaching.
Teaching Monday.
Teaching. Okay.
Monday.
Yeah.
Can't trust that day.
Real teaching.
Yeah. Okay. Monday. Sometimes it just turns out that way.